Hello everyone. In this class, we'll try to learn how carbon dioxide is transported in the blood. Carbon dioxide is produced due to tissue activity and it enters the blood due to difference in the partial pressure of carbon dioxide between arterial and tissue. That is, arterial blood partial pressure is 40 mm Hg and tissue it is 46 mm of Hg. There is a high diffusion coefficient of carbon dioxide as compared to the oxygen, that is, it is 20 times more than that of oxygen. Carbon dioxide is carried in three forms: dissolved form, as a carbamino compounds, and as a bicarbonate. Dissolved form: carbon dioxide is transported as dissolved form in both plasma and RBC. The venous blood with the PCO2 46 mmHg contains about 2.7 ml per 100 ml of carbon dioxide in dissolved form. The arterial blood with PCO2 40 mmHg contains 2.4 ml per 100 ml of carbon dioxide in dissolved form. Thus, only 0.3 ml of carbon dioxide is transported in the dissolved state per 100 ml of blood from tissues to the lungs. This represents about 70% of all carbon dioxide that is transported. As a carbamino compounds, after entering the blood, some of the carbon dioxide combines with the proteins in blood, both in plasma and cells. In plasma, carbon dioxide combines directly with plasma proteins to form carbamino proteins. This is a slow reaction and only 0.1 ml% of carbon dioxide is transported in this form. Carbon dioxide combines with the amino part of the protein to form a complex carbamino compound. In RBC, carbon dioxide combines with the amino group of hemoglobin to form carbamino hemoglobin. This is a fast reaction and 0.6 ml% of the carbon dioxide is transported in this form. Again, carbon dioxide is going to form the amino part of the hemoglobin to form carbamino compound. Approximately 23% of the total carbon dioxide, that is 0.7 ml% is transported in the blood in the form of carbamino compounds. As bicarbonates, it accounts for about 70% of the total carbon dioxide transport, that is 3 ml% of total carbon dioxide transported from the tissues to the lungs. These bicarbonates are formed in the RBC and then diffuse into plasma. This is because RBC has a required enzyme, that is carbonic anhydrase. After entering the blood, most of the carbon dioxide enters the RBC, where in presence of carbonic anhydrase, it rapidly reacts with water to form carbonic acid. Carbonic acid dissociates into bicarbonate ions and hydrogen ions. This is the reaction when the carbon dioxide enters in the RBC. It is going to form carbonic acid, then it is going to form H plus ion and bicarbonate ions. RBC membrane is relatively impermeable to cations, so H plus ions combines with hemoglobin. This enables the reaction to proceed in the forward direction and prevent the backward reaction. 70% of the bicarbonate diffuse out of the RBC into plasma and 30% of the bicarbonates remain in the RBC. Chloride shift. When bicarbonate diffuses out of the RBC into plasma, the inside of the cell becomes less negatively charged. To maintain the electrical neutrality, chloride ions diffuse from plasma into RBC to replace bicarbonate ions. The movement of chloride into RBC is called as chloride shift or Hamburger phenomena. This process is mediated by a membrane protein called band 3 protein. As a result of chloride shift, the total number of ions inside the RBCs increases, so the osmotic pressure inside the RBC becomes higher than that of plasma. This draws water and RBC becomes slightly larger. Thus, the PCV of venous blood is slightly higher than almost 3% than that of arterial blood. So this reaction showing the Hamburger's phenomena or chloride shift when the carbon dioxide enter inside the RBC. So with the water it is going to form bicarbonic acid, and that forms H plus ions and bicarbonic acid, and H plus is going to react with hemoglobin, and the H plus ion is buffered, and the HCO3 is going to move out of the cell with the exchange with the chloride ions with the help of band 3 protein, and this is called as chloride shift or Hamburger's phenomenon. To maintain the neutrality, uh, some of the ions also enters uh, inside the cell, which is going to drag some amount of water, and it increases the volume of RBC. Summary of carbon dioxide transport. Thus, out of 52 ml of carbon dioxide in venous blood, 4 ml is given out in the lungs, and arterial blood contains about 48 ml percent. Out of this 4 ml percent, 0.3 ml percent is contributed by dissolved form, 0.7 ml is by carbamino compounds, and 3 ml percent is by bicarbonate. So this is the summary. So the carbon dioxide is carried in three forms: dissolved, carbamino, and bicarbonate, and in the venous as well as arterial blood. Okay, so in the venous blood carries almost 52 ml percent, and arterial blood carries 48 ml percent. That it is going to deliver 4 ml percent of oxygen to the lungs. And so these are different percentages of the carbon dioxide which are carried by in different forms. Carbon dioxide dissociation curve. Carbon dioxide dissociation curve is obtained by plotting the relationship between carbon dioxide and total carbon dioxide content of the blood. The graph shows that the relationship between two is nearly linear over a wide range of PCO2 compared to oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve, which is a sigmoid shape. The PCO2 of arterial and venous blood varies practically within a narrow range of 40 to 45 mmHg. The binding of oxygen to hemoglobin reduces its affinity for carbon dioxide from blood, shifting the oxygen carbon dioxide dissociation curve to the right, and this is called as Haldon's effect. So this is the normal oxygen dissociation curve, which is almost linear, and the partial pressure of carbon dioxide ranges or changes between this narrow range of 40 to 45 mm of Hg. And this curve shows the carbon dioxide dissociation curve uh, at the venous blood and at the tissue level, and the carbon dioxide dissociation curve at the lung level where PO2 is 100 mm of Hg. And because it is exposed to the oxygen, the carbon dioxide is is dissociated from the hemoglobin, which increases the carbon dioxide delivery at the lung level. Okay, so if Haldon's effect wouldn't have affected, so there would be delivery of only the 2 ml per 2 ml percent of carbon dioxide at the lung level. Because of the Haldon's effect, almost 4 ml percent of the carbon dioxide is delivered to the lungs. So the figure demonstrates that the significance of Haldon's effect on the transport of carbon dioxide from tissues to the lungs. This shows the small portion of two carbon dioxide dissociation curves when PO2 is 100 mmHg, which is in case blood capillaries of the lungs, and PO2 40 mmHg, which is the case tissue capillaries. Point A in this diagram shows that the normal PCO2 is 46 mmHg in the tissues, causes 52 ml percent of carbon dioxide to combine with the blood. On entering the lungs, PCO2 falls to 40 mmHg and PO2 rises to 100 mmHg. If the carbon dioxide dissociation curve did not shift because of the Haldon effect, the carbon dioxide content of the blood would fall to only 50 ml percent. However, the increase in the PO2 in the lung lowers the carbon dioxide dissociation curve top to lower curve of the figure, so that the carbon dioxide content falls to 48 ml percent, that is point B. So thus Heldon's effect doubles the amount of carbon dioxide released from the blood in the lungs. Mechanism of Heldon's effect. The combination of oxygen with hemoglobin in the lungs causes the hemoglobin to be stronger acid, and this displaces the carbon dioxide from the blood and into alveoli in two ways. One is the more uh, highly acidic HB has a less tendency to combine with carbon dioxide to form carbaminohemoglobin, thus displacing the much of the carbon dioxide that is present in the carbamino form in the blood. The second one is increased acidity of hemoglobin also causes it to release an excess of H plus ion, and this binds with bicarbonate to form bicarbonic acid. Uh, then this dissociates into water and carbon dioxide. Then the carbon dioxide is released from the blood into the alveoli and finally into the air. This is in brief regarding carbon dioxide transport in the blood. Thank you.